Hello, folks, and welcome to today's webinar. My name is Josh Anderson, and I am the manager of Clinical Assistive Technology Services at Easterseals Crossroads. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about the assistive technology services available at Easterseals Crossroads, as well as some different tools that you may be able to use with the folks that you work with. During today's presentation, first of all, we're going to talk about what exactly is assistive technology. We'll do a brief overview of the AT services at Easterseals Crossroads, and I'll introduce you to some of the team. Then we'll do a little show and tell, some different things that, again, may be able to help you out some. First of all, what is assistive technology? Well, it's really an umbrella term, includes assistive, adaptive, and rehabilitative devices for people with disabilities, but also includes the process used in selecting, locating, and using them. Really, assistive technology, the most important thing is it promotes greater independence and enables folks to perform tasks that they were formerly either unable to accomplish or really had a lot of difficulty accomplishing. Provides enhancements to or changes methods of interacting with the technology needed to accomplish such tasks. That's a whole lot of words to say things. And really, as someone who works in assistive technology, I feel like I could make the argument that if you're using a pencil to take notes for this presentation, that could be considered assistive technology, because if you just run your finger along the paper, not a whole heck of a lot happens. So assistive technology is really all around us and is used in many different ways. And hopefully you can kind of get that from part of the presentation. Assistive technology has a lot of goals. This is not a fully encompassing list, but it really does have a whole lot of goals for folks. It's supposed to increase efficiency and or effectiveness. So just kind of make it to where we can do our job, accomplish our tasks and goals a whole lot better. It can decrease the degenerative nature of a disability. It can allow persons to stay or return to the workplace. Support or replace skills that are lost or altered by illness, disease, or accident. Essentially, it can be that extra little piece that can overcome a barrier, so that an individual with a disability can do a job or a task just as well as someone who does not have said disability. It can help to avoid injury. And really, probably the most important part, and probably the most important for the folks that you all serve, is it can really increase independence. So let's talk about the assistive technology program here at Easterseals Crossroads. We are separated into two different teams. We do work together a whole lot. There's a lot of overlap, but we are two separate parts. The first part's the INDATA project. So the INDATA project is a federally funded grant. There is a project like this in every state in the union. There are actually 53 of said programs across the country. And the INDATA project is, of course, the Indiana Assistive Technology Act program. It has two goals. The first goal is to spread the word about assistive technology. In order to do that, we do all kinds of things on social media. We have podcasts that I'll talk about later. We have a YouTube channel that I will try to show you with some different tech tips and other things. We do presentations, kind of like what you're watching here today. We go and talk to a lot of organizations and folks and show them different ways that assistive technology may be able to help. Many of the folks that in our team actually teach at universities and everything else, just again, to get that word out, let people know what is assistive technology and how it can help the folks that they work with. The other portion of the INDATA project is to really get people's hands on assistive technology. A lot of assistive tech can be very expensive and a little cost prohibitive for folks. So I don't know if you've ever bought anything off Amazon. I bought my dog a toy that was supposed to be this really great giraffe. It was supposed to be, I don't know, from the picture, it looked like it was about 2 feet. You know, in length. When I got it, it was smaller than my hand and the puppy would have choked on it. So I think that cost me about $4. I was pretty upset at the end. If you could imagine, if you see this great thing that you think is really going to help someone and you get it and it doesn't, and you're out, you know, instead of $4, maybe $1,000 or more, it can be very frustrating. So in order to really get people's hands on assistive technology, we have some different programs. One of them is a lending library, which also includes some device demonstrations. And all of these I'll go through a little more in depth as we move along. We have an equipment reuse program, which is the depot, and also low interest bank loans, which is our AFP program. More information on all of these is always available at eastersealstech.com. You should definitely go check that out to kind of get more information on all these programs. So let me introduce you to the folks in the AT department. Mr. Wade Wingler, he is our Vice President of Technology and Information Services and tons of other stuff. I think they keep adding more things to his name. As you know, if you work for a nonprofit, instead of getting raises, they just add more words to your title. So as you can tell, he's been here a very long time because I couldn't fit everything on the slide. Brian Norton's our Director of Assistive Technology. So he is over the InData project, but also has oversight over the clinical program, and I'll talk about the clinical program a little later as we get into everything. So let me talk a little bit more about the loan library. So our loan library here at Easterseals Crossroads has about 2,500 assistive technology devices available for loan, and that can be all kinds of different things. That can be an iPad with different adaptive apps on it. Mobile ramps, so for folks who are maybe in a wheelchair but need to go to a wedding, or we've had folks borrow them because they're house shopping and they need to be able to access the house that maybe is not accessible at the time, so they can borrow a ramp to take with them so they can go see those things. Communication devices, really about anything that you can think of. And another thing about the loan library is we try to keep everything in stock and get new things. So if you see a new piece of assistive technology that we don't have, let us know. We'd probably love to have it, because if you're looking for it, odds are someone else is as well. And these are utilized to try out assistive technology, or maybe when funding's not yet available for folks. People see things on TV and see how it helps someone, and they really want to try it out and see if it can help them. Down at the bottom of the page, there's indata.atforall.com. You can go to that site. You can get there through the eastersealstech.com as well, and actually set up an account. And you can search it by impairment, by the device name, by the use of the device. You know, let's say that I'm looking for something for someone with a visual disability. You know, I can search for vision, and it'll bring up anything that we have that might be able to help someone with a visual disability. Or if I'm looking for a certain device, I can look it up. It'll tell me if it's in stock, if it's available for loan. Those loans are available to anyone in the state of Indiana. You don't have to have a documented disability. And the reason for that is a lot of times caregivers, family members want to borrow it in order to show it to the person. And with the loan library, there's also device demonstrations. So Justin or Steve, whose names and emails are both right there, and I'll show you some pictures of them here in the next slide, can actually come out and demonstrate these devices to you, show you how they work, show you some of the bells and whistles, how to turn it on and everything. It's not a full-on training, but at least it can show you what the devices can do. Those are usually loaned out for 30 days. We can extend those if needed. Kind of on an as-needed basis. If someone's waiting for the device, then we have a little bit harder time kind of extending those. But if it's for a job or something like that, we try to be as flexible as we can in order to make sure that the individual can have that device to help them out. So here's Justin and Steve. Justin is our equipment lending specialist. He runs the loan library, and then Steve's his equipment assistant that will help out. They are the folks to talk to about devices, and they'll be able to kind of help you. Also, if you don't return something, they are the two that will hunt you down. No, I'm just kidding. They're very nice folks. We just want to make sure that everyone who needs to use devices can definitely use them. We also have the depot. And the depot takes in donated computers, donated older assistive technology, and they try to fix it up. If it's a computer, they wipe the hard drive. They put on a new version of Windows 10, as well as a version of Microsoft Office. And then they actually provide those to folks in the state of Indiana. I did put the link to the application on there. And of course, that's on eastersealstech.com as well. To really qualify for a computer or a piece of donated assistive technology, the individual just needs to live in the state of Indiana and have a documented disability. There can be a long waiting list for some requested items. Considering that we do rely on donations for this, we get a lot more desktops than we do laptops. Some of the laptops that get donated to us can't be upgraded just because of age, amount of RAM, other factors like that. So sometimes laptops can be a little hard to get. Desktops are usually a much quicker turnaround time. Alvin always provides a little bit of training on those, just kind of how to access some things on the computer. And again, we do give those out to folks. Also with the depot, if you, excuse me, have old computer equipment, anything like that, and feel like donating, you can always donate those to the depot. You do get the little form for a tax write-off, so it's always nice too. And if you're worried about your data, as I said, they don't sit there and go through your old pictures and browsing history. They do a full wipe of the hard drive, and they actually do it to Department of Defense standards. So they wipe it, I believe it's 3 full times. There's nothing at all left on that computer, so you don't have to worry about your data in this time in our nation when it seems like everybody's worried about their data, because it seems to be able to get out there pretty easily. The folks in the depot are Alvin Alviar and Tracy Castillo. They are the two that do run the depot and do all the work in there. They also take a lot of volunteers. They have folks that come in the volunteer program and will actually help them with wiping the computers, with setting them up, with installing the software and everything. So if you have someone looking for volunteer opportunities, they might be good folks to talk to. I do not know if they're accepting new volunteers at this time, but they're always kind of looking for help. And again, it's a good way to kind of gauge maybe someone's work skills, as well as just, give them some new skills in computers if it's something they're very interested in. Get them out and let them kind of help out. And again, Alvin and Tracy are really great with our volunteers. We also have the alternative financing program. The alternative financing program, as I said earlier, a lot of assistive technology can be very expensive. Some folks don't have any funding source in order to purchase things. So maybe they're not going through the VA or the vocational rehabilitation system, but they do still need something. So the alternative financing program, we partnered with Star Financial Bank, and it is a loan. So the individual would have to pay it back. The person must be an Indiana resident with a documented disability in need of assistive technology. The money does have to be spent on assistive technology. And those funds can range from, I believe, $500 is the low, which would be perhaps an iPad with some adaptive apps. And I believe the top amount has been extended to $30,000, which could be enough for a home or vehicle modification. So again, that's something to always look into. They are low interest. I believe most of them close around 3%. I think they have a little extended terms, so it's a little easier to pay back. But again, it is a loan, not really a grant or anything like that. So that money would need to be paid back, and there is an application process. If you have any questions about the alternative financing program, really any of the programs I've talked about, Nicole Prieto is our community outreach coordinator. She is the person who works with Star Financial, who works with a lot of other things, and is really kind of the lead on a lot of those different programs. And then Laura Medcalf is our social media content specialist. She runs one of our podcasts, Accessibility Minute. She also does most of our blog posts, Twitter, Facebook, all those fun things. So speaking of podcasts, we do have 3 podcasts that we do here. We have Assistive Technology Frequently Asked Questions, which is a question and answer show. Folks tweet us, call us, email us, and send us different questions about assistive technology. And we do our best to kind of answer them. Occasionally, I'm not going to lie, I don't think we have the best answers, but luckily we got a pretty good listener base who will sometimes chime in and help out when we're not able to. We have Assistive Technology Update, which is kind of our flagship. It's been running for approximately 7 years, I do believe now. It was actually just ranked the #1 podcast on assistive technology, which we're very proud of. And it's more of an interview kind of show. It's weekly. Half-hour show where right now Wade Wingler does all the interviews for folks in the world of assistive technology, and it's again very good program. And then Accessibility Minute, which is just a quick 1-minute podcast about something in the world of assistive technology. Those are available there on Eastersealstech.com. You can also find them on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, and really anywhere that you find podcasts. They're pretty much available. So let's talk about the Clinical Assistive Technology program. This is the program that I run. It was started in 1979, which I always kind of make the joke that I was also born that year. So I guess I was really meant to work here. I did not start working here in 1979 due to child labor laws. But it was originally started as a blind services grant, and really just kind of making workplace accommodations and also teaching individuals who were blind how to work on computers, which I don't know if you remember what computers looked like in 1979, but they were much more close to the size of your desk, and really compared to the computers of today, were more of a calculator. But it's kind of grown into some different pieces. So As far as disabilities we serve, we're all inclusive, everything across the board, physical, cognitive, sensory, developmental, anything that you can think of, we've probably worked with them. We do work with all ages, children and adults. A lot of the folks we work with have a vocational goal that they need assistance with getting to. So a lot of times we get the folks usually when they kind of age out of the K-12 environment and are going to college or entering the workplace and try to help them with those goals. The clinical team that I'm going to show you, if you ever do come to Crossroads to see anything, I'm going to tell you, odds are you won't see these folks in the office, because we actually go and work with folks in their home, at their school, at their workplace, where they will be using the technology in order to figure out what they really need. We do statewide services. We cover all 92 counties in Indiana. And then the folks on my team have a lot of different qualifications. Most of us have the ATP, which is the Assistive Technology Professional Certification from RESNA. We have Belva Smith, which has the CADS certification, which is a lot like the ATP, but it's more gauged towards individuals with vision impairments. We have a lot of CEASs, which are Certified Ergonomic Assessment Specialists. We are a CARF accredited agency, and really just we have a very multidisciplinary service offering. All of us kind of come from different backgrounds, and it really helps the kind of team environment. So let me introduce you to kind of the team. Our leadership team here on the clinical side is myself there, Josh Anderson. I'm the manager. We kind of split the team in two just to make it a little easier to work with folks. So Belva Smith is our vision and sensory team lead. And then Craig Burns down there works on our mobility and cognition team. The rest of the team, David Fry and Lisa Becker, are both on the mobility and cognition team. Jim Reinhardt and Rebecca Carpenter both work on the vision and sensory. And Jim and Lisa are actually remote employees. Lisa's based in Rochester, Indiana, and Jim in Fort Wayne. In order to get to folks a little easier and cut down on some travel time, we hired some folks that are kind of outside the Indianapolis area so we can get to people a little easier. Then the rest of our team, Anna Leong, is actually on our vision team. She's an AT specialist. She was also used to work on the OIB project, which worked with folks with visual impairment who are a little older, helped them get iPads and learn how to use those. And then she's transitioned kind of more onto just the clinical team. And then June White's our administrative assistant. She's always a very good resource to get a hold of if you have any questions about referrals or anything like that. It is very important to know that most of the services on the clinical team are fee-for-service, whereas everything in the Indata project is all grant funded. And down there at the bottom is just if you ever want to know any more about our staff, you can get to that from eastersealstech.com and just see little blurbs about us and our backgrounds. So let's talk about assistive technology and Down syndrome, and just some different ways and different tools that you might be able to use. I'm going to have some slides with a lot of information on here, a lot of different assistive technology, and then have some demonstrations for some different things that might be able to help. Most of the things that I'm going to demo are free or lower cost. And really the only reason I wanted to do that was to kind of get it out there that there's some different things that might be able to help that would be free or very low cost to try to implement to see if maybe they work or help out an individual. Then you can always go a little farther after that and perhaps, borrow some different things or try out some different equipment there down the road as need be. So let's talk about some different areas of impact. And I know that I'm kind of talking to the professionals here with Down syndrome Indiana. So I know that you already kind of know this, but just some different areas of impact. So, memory, starting, initiating task, organizing information processing, which it's always funny that I put those in there as cognitive defects, because really and truly, I would say probably anyone listening to this probably has problems with at least one of those things, even if there's no disability associated. Goodness knows, starting and initiating task and organization isn't really easy for anyone. Sensory defects, there can always be visual or hearing, defects that can show up. Behavioral symptoms, poor judgment, a short attention span. Hopefully short attention span hasn't kicked in for anyone listening right now, and you're still paying attention and slightly engaged. And then of course, communication deficits. So difficulty producing speech, written, spoken language, and really understanding that, and show you some different things that might be able to help out with a few of these. And I'll show you some videos and some other demonstrations that might be able to assist in a few of these. So let's do some show and tell. I won't demonstrate everything that I'm going to show just because you would be bored to death by the end. But hopefully you can go back and look at this, maybe download free versions, or again, always use the loan library to borrow some of these things and try them out. Calendars. All of us probably use some form of calendar. I used to use paper calendars. Used to have the big one on my desk where I would write down things, which was really great until I would write phone numbers and other stuff on there and would completely and totally forget what all of it meant. So for some folks, a paper calendar might be, we all have appointments, we're all very busy. Those folks you work with probably have caregivers, doctor's appointments, all kinds of things going on, and really keeping up on them are hard. Now that we're in the land of tablets and iDevices and Android phones and stuff like that, a lot of these calendars are built in to those. They're free usually, and they're usually not too awful hard to use. Usually have built-in reminders. Mine will actually pop up and tell me when I need to leave in order to make it to an appointment on time, which is very, very helpful. And I must say, if something doesn't get on my calendar, I really forget that it exists. I put the Apple Watch on there just because for some folks, this is a nice little helper. I don't know if you're like me, but if my phone is on vibrate, I can ignore it in my pocket. In fact, to the point where I hardly notice when it goes off. And I've also even got to the point where sometimes I swear I feel it go off, and it's not that kind of that phantom vibration thing. But if it's on your wrist, sometimes it's a little easier to get those alerts. Apple Watches can be a little expensive, and Samsung makes them. I believe Fossil makes them. All kinds of watchmakers are getting into that smartwatch kind of technology. I want to show you a video on the Watchminder 3, which is the one down there in the corner, and it's got more of a $70. It's between $60 and $70, depending on where you might purchase it from. Let me show you a little video about it. And the video I'm going to show you is what we call a tech tip. If you go to our website at eastersealstech.com, you can find links to our YouTube channel, which has all kinds of tech tips. And these are little, try to keep them about 5 minutes or less videos, just showing you a little bit about a piece of technology. So let me go ahead and bring this up real quick and we can watch it together and we can go over it a little bit.
Hi, my name is Brian Norton with the Indata Project at Easterseals Crossroads. And today, Josh Anderson is going to take a look at the Watchminder 3, which is a low-cost smartwatch to help people with reminders. So let's take a look.
Hi, I'm Josh Anderson from Easterseals Crossroads, and today I'm going to show you the Watchminder, which is a watch that you can wear on your wrist, but you can set reminders to either vibrate or make an audible noise to remind you from everything from going to work to taking a break to brushing your teeth, using the restroom, really anything that you might need to be reminded of. So with the Watchminder, as you can see, it just looks kind of like a normal wristwatch, so it wouldn't really stand out. No one would think anything different of it. Whenever you get it, it comes with a charger, and this is the small little charger. It just clips right onto the device. Plug it into the wall, and it will actually charge it completely up, so you don't have to worry about changing a battery like you do with some watches. And the battery charge will last actually up to a month, so you don't have to remember to put it on the charger every single day. Where the Watchminder can really come in handy is, as I said, it doesn't really stand out. It looks like any normal kind of watch. So if I'm somebody who maybe doesn't want to be singled out at work, to having to be reminded for things, I can always use this. There's 4 very easy to use buttons on it. One just uses the light, which can turn it on. I'm not sure how well that actually will show up, so hopefully that'll go off here in just a second. But then up here on the side, I can change all my different settings. Of course, I can set the date and time. I can turn vibration off and on. So again, if I don't want audible reminders, if I want to be reminded of things, I can turn on the vibration, and it's actually pretty strong. So we'll see if, of course, you probably can't see it vibrate, but hopefully you kind of heard it go across the table there. As we go through different ones, I can set my vibration. I can set trainings. We'll go past that, but I can also set different reminders. So if these, it has many already programmed in there, everything from backpack, do my banking and bills, which everyone needs to be reminded of, bathing, anything that I really need to be reminded to do is in here, and I can actually go in and set my own. Once I pick which one I want, I can set a timer for it, and it's going to make me go through. Then I can set which days I actually want that on. So I can set it any day of the week, all days of the week, or anything that I might need. So I can go ahead and select, we'll just set. And then I actually have a reminder set up so that that will be set for any days that I tell it I need it. This can be beneficial for someone in a work situation if they need to remember to take breaks, to clock in, to clock out, to go home at certain times. And they're not going to have to pull a watch or a phone out of their pocket or something to check those reminders or be reminded, which of course could get them in trouble at work. Can also be helpful for somebody at home if they need to remember to eat breakfast, to take their medication, to do really anything that they might need to be reminded of. You can set, I know there's a limit to how many reminders you can set, but anytime I've worked with this with someone, I've never hit that limit. So I believe you can set quite a few. And what's nice is whatever the reminder is will actually come across the screen scrolling. So if it's eat breakfast, it will come across and say eat breakfast. And until I hit something, that will not go away. It will not stop beeping or vibrating, however I have it set up. The really nice thing about this is there's a lot of new products out on the market, a lot of different watches, Apple Watch, Samsung, all those different things. And those run anywhere from about $150 to $300, depending on what you're looking for. The Watchminder, I believe, runs right around 65 bucks. So it's a lot cheaper, and it's still a very good option for folks to help them either at home or at work.
So that's your tech tip for this week. My name is Brian Norton with the Indata Project at Easterseals Crossroads in Indiana.
So that there's the Watchminder, and apparently it was winter because I noticed my beard was much thicker at that time. But again, for a lot of folks with disabilities, and
although it slightly resembles an Apple Watch in its form factor, the Octopus Watch by Joy is meant for a different audience. This is the first icon-based smartwatch for children that's touted to be the training wheels for good.
I'm sorry about that. Gotta love technology. Anyways, let's get back. So let's kind of go back over there. So for folks with disabilities, one thing that is always something we have to look at with assistive technology is you don't want to have a lot of things that's going to single you out or make you seem a whole lot different. In my experience, a lot of times folks actually think it's pretty cool, but if you kind of put yourselves in those shoes, I always take myself back to being a teenager and things. And you, while you want to be different, you want to fit in. So having a gigantic device with you or something like that can kind of single you out. Whereas something that you just wear, that it looks like anything anyone else might have, might be a little bit, kind of easier to deal with. So again, that's the Watchminder. It's been around for quite a while. It's on the third iteration with the Watchminder 3. We do have that here at the loan library. So if you ever do think it's something that might help out, feel free to come in and borrow it and give it a try. Reminders, just talking about those, remembering to do things. So paper to-do lists, sometimes those work for folks. A note on the fridge sometimes is what a person needs. Those calendar apps that we talked about, all different kinds of them that can help. I always say it wrong, AIDA reminders is a really good one. I put the Tile Bluetooth tracker. I don't know if any of you folks have ever used this, but what it is, it links up to an app on a smartphone. You can connect it to things, to your keys, to your wallet. You can throw it in a backpack or something so that you can and it will show you where people are on a little map. And as you get close to it, it can start to beep. So you're getting warmer, it'll beep more as you get close to it. Really good way to kind of find things. I put $50 to $60 there. They've changed, and I believe they're a little less expensive. There's also voice cues, which unfortunately I don't have a video for. It's actually loaned out at this moment. But voice cues can actually not just give you reminders, but can actually put some steps in there that can be a little helpful for individuals. It's also visual timers, some different things to help you keep on task. The Time Tracker Mini is great. It sits there and flashes green. As you get close to time being up, it flashes yellow, and time's up, it's red. Sometimes these can help keep folks on task. So if I need to do something for a certain amount of time, I always think of, you're supposed to brush your teeth for a certain amount of time. I have a 9-year-old at home who Brushing his teeth is, I put the toothbrush in my mouth, I run it over my teeth, and I brushed my teeth. Technically, he's not wrong, which if you've ever had a 9-year-old, you know that they rarely think they're wrong. But at the same time, he does need to do it for a certain amount of time. And we've tried the different, sing happy birthday twice and all that stuff. But if you've ever seen someone try to sing happy birthday with the toothbrush in their mouth, it makes a bit of a mess. So different timers and things have really kind of helped. There's a lot of different ones. If you look up different apps, there's all different kinds. Some are pretty fun. You almost get a little reward if you do something for a certain amount of time. So this can be nice, especially if, you are only allowed to have so much TV time or even device time. Set those little timers just so it can help you stay on task. And I even put the wearable technologies because the Watchminder does have those features. Apple Watches and all those do as well. When I talk about technology, sometimes I get a little bit too much into the computer, the expensive stuff, the neat, the amazing. But really organizing things, sometimes very easy stuff that we've had around forever. Postit notes, highlighters. Just ways to kind of keep things organized in order to keep our thoughts organized and the things that we need. And this can be everything from paying bills to, really anything that you need to keep organized. Papers, utensils in the kitchen. Post-it notes sometimes are great to put on the front of drawers just so you can find things easier. I think of instructions for cooking stuff. It can be written on a Post-it note, put right on top. Different colors for if it's the stove or the microwave or it's supposed to go back in the refrigerator. A lot of different stuff. So, sometimes just a quick trip to the stationery aisle at Walmart or Office Depot can really end up in a lot of low-cost assistive technology that can really help folks out and help meet their needs. Tools for capturing information. So these things I did put on here, and just based on time, I won't really demonstrate any of them, but feel free to try some of these out. Audio Note, the built-in notes app on most phones and things are really great recorders. So if you're in a meeting, a lot of information's there and trying to write things down. So if you think about any of the individuals you're working with or trying to help, some things that you're trying to help them do, while they may seem second nature to you or I, they may be a little newer to them, and you really don't think about how many steps there are to go through it. So sometimes just having notes in order to go through, and with these ones that have audio recorders associated, not only can I read my notes to make sure I go through the steps, but I can listen to that person giving me the direction, so that even when they're not there, I have that audio recording of what they said, of what they actually need me to do and what I need to do to accomplish that goal. Attention and focus, something that I'm sure we could probably all use. I'm sure most of you are probably pretending to watch this while you're checking your phone and Facebook and things like that and looking at pictures of folks' breakfast and everything else. And it's hard. We have distractions all over the place. Emails pop up, text messages, phone calls, calendar appointments, all these different things, and it's a lot of information. So for an individual with a disability, it can be just too much. Not to mention all the noises. If you think about, living in an apartment or even with a group, if you've got someone that lives there with you with behavior issues who maybe is very loud, some noise canceling headsets can help you stay on task and maybe get your things done. There's different apps, and I just put a few here that I know a lot of folks have used. Simply Being is an app that will help you with some different calming. There's one called Calm that's really good. iCounselor apps, they have different things for anger management and different other kind of behaviors. So there's a lot of different ones out there that you can try out and see if maybe they can help with some of those behavior issues that an individual might have to just help them cope with it. And I talk about apps a lot in here, and I'll talk about why kind of at the end. But just know that that's kind of coming, and there's a reason that those things are in here quite an awful lot. Identification tools and apps. These can really help an individual out in the home, as well as if they're maybe trying to get a job at work, especially if I have a print disability or a communication barrier, or I have a really hard time with reading. So look tell recognizer can just recognize different things. There's all different kinds. Tap tap see can recognize stuff. Barcode scanners, and as you see the standalone device there, it's been around for a very long time. $1,300 is a bit of a price tag, especially, but this device was made before smartphones. So if you think of the barcode scanners that a lot of us have in our smartphones, and we probably use it for shopping, you know, when you're at Target and you see something that looks cool, you scan it on there and it tells you how much it costs at Amazon and at Walmart and every other place. So it's amazing how much technology has progressed and how much these items that used to be assistive technology are actually used in our everyday lives now. So yeah, ScanLife barcode scanner, and there's tons of different ones. It's just finding the one that maybe works best for you. I do want to show you one called CamFind. I've used CamFind with a lot of individuals, usually in a working kind of position, but it could really be used in the home and many other ways as well. And CamFind, just for a little background on it, it's actually a shopping app. It was made so that you could take a picture of an item and it would bring up all the different places you can buy it online. Where I find it useful, I've used it with a lot of folks who are blind or low vision, folks who can't identify print due to either a cognitive impairment or an injury. And what I like about CamFind is not only does it tell you what the item is, it will actually audibly tell you what it is. So let me see if the screen capture will work, and hopefully it will play. And we just open up the CamFind app. This is free. And I put an item in front of it, snap a picture. It's going to take it a minute. Hopefully we'll be able to hear the audio. And it will tell me what the item is.
3x3 Rubik's Cube.
As we scroll down, it'll show you some different lines, again, where I can buy it and everything else. I hit the X, bring something else up. So let's see if it can identify this for us. It almost always gets it wrong on the first try, as you can see there.
Kraft macaroni and cheese pack.
So it actually tells me there again what that item is. Then I can always close the app, open it back up, and look at different things. So if you think, if you have someone you're working with who maybe wants to go back to work, or I think of stocking shelves. I think of working in any kind of retail environment. To be able to have something that I don't really know exactly what this is. Maybe I can read okay, but the font's really weird, and I'm not really sure exactly what it is or what it says. But they said I need to put the Kraft macaroni and cheese on the third shelf. I can use this, and it can tell me that's the Kraft macaroni and cheese. So then I can go and actually put it right there where it needs to be. Very, very neat app. And again, this was not made for assistive technology. This was made as a sales tool. And you'll notice some of the things I'll show you were actually made that way, but we can use them in totally different ways. Reading, writing, and math. Who couldn't use a little bit of help in these things? And again, sometimes I may have a print disability. I have a hard time reading for different reasons, but I want to. All these things, Claro PDF, VoiceStream, SnapType, Read and Write, all these are apps that will assist with reading. It will read things on the screen. A lot of times I can take pictures of text and have it read back to me, and I'll demonstrate one of those here in a minute. But as well, there's also usually built-in things that can read to us on an iPhone or an Android phone or a tablet or anything like that. There's apps to help with math, and I'll demonstrate the photo math here in a minute. And again, math, I may need it for school, but I also may need it to balance a checkbook, to figure out how much money I have. I have, $1,000 coming in a month, and I have to pay this bill and this bill. Well, I just paid $250. How much do I have left? So just some things like that. And there's also voice recognition software. So if I have a hard time typing to send an email or a text message or anything like that, most of the time I can dictate those things. So if I do have a strong voice and I'm able to dictate, I can use different apps and tools to do that. So for help with numbers, I'm going to show two here. And I apologize, there's not a picture of the Get Change app, but hopefully you'll see it here on the video as it shows. I'm going to show you Photo Math and Get Change. So hopefully I can talk about these as they come up. So for Photo Math, I open it up. Oh, but I accidentally put the wrong graphic there. But all I have to do is hold it over a written math problem. And you see it gives me the answer. It'll even do some difficult algebra. Not that that's super difficult algebra, but if I touch, it will even tell me the steps for solving it. So I must admit I'm jealous they didn't have these kind of things when I was in class, because you can think of, it's not really cheating, but it's helping me along. It's helping show me the steps when I don't have a teacher there to assist. And then again, balancing the checkbook. So, you know, I have $900. I spent $285. I have $615 left. So I apologize. I have the wrong schematic there. That is actually, and then get your change. So I think about this for some different things. One, for work. If I owe someone 85 cents, I have to give them 3/4 and a dime. But also paying. So, you know, I owe $36.29. Well, I need a 20, a 10, a 5, a 1, a quarter, and went a little too quick there. But you see, it shows you a picture of how much money I need to give. And so this can really help out a whole lot as well. And this is free, a fully free app, very easy to use and very easy to understand, because it shows me a picture. So I can actually take the money out of my wallet in my pocket, lay it out, and I know exactly what I need to give an individual. So it can be very helpful. And again, that can be in work, that can be in life, that can be in shopping, that can be at anything. We always like to give people the benefit of the doubt and think that they're really good people. But unfortunately, there are folks out there that will take advantage of individuals with a disability anytime that they can. And I do apologize. Folks, I apologize. We had a fire alarm right there in the middle of recording this webinar. So I'm very sorry. Let me get back to right where we were. So hopefully I went over everything there. To help with print, we talked about a lot of those different kind of apps that can read to us and help us out. But I want to go over one called Seeing AI. This is a free app. It's available on iPhone and iPad. It's not available for Android at this time, but hopefully here sometime in the future they will make that a possibility. So I'm going to go ahead and just fire up this video. Hopefully the sound will work on it. If not, I'll try to kind of explain what's going on. Seeing AI was made for folks who are blind or visually impaired in order to read printed text to them. It can also kind of tell you how many people are in a room and stuff like that, but we won't talk about that since that doesn't really kind of pertain to us at the moment. So we pop it up.
Short text. Assistive technology, at tools and resources used by individuals with disabilities to increase their independence and improve their quality of life. Document. Hold steady. Processing.
So I'm not sure why the sound's not working there, but it should be reading that back to me audibly, and it was when that video was kind of made. But as you can see, it even kind of does the follow the bouncing ball thing. Those are two totally different pieces. One was the short text, which all I have to do is hold it over text, and it'll automatically start reading it to me. And then this one is actually a document. So as you saw, I held it over a block of text, and then it began reading it back to me. This works really well. And again, it is free. On iOS. And here in a moment, I'll show you, it can do something that so far no other piece of assistive technology has been able to do, and that is read handwriting. And as you can see, I can change the size of the text if I want to read along. Let me go ahead and get back. I can even share the image, share the text if I like to.
No edges visible.
Let me move along here.
No edges visible.
It can identify currency if we want. Unfortunately, when I was making this video, I didn't realize that I had no cash on me. But so if I need to know what a 20 is or what a 10 is, a 5.
Preview.
But I'll show you the handwriting here. So I just hold it over a piece of handwriting and snap a picture.
Processing. Hello everyone, I hope that the app reads this text correctly. I also hope that you are all having great presentation and a wonderful day.
So it's not perfect, but again, this is the first thing that's been able to read handwriting. So if you just think, if I write someone a handwritten note and they need to access it, but maybe have a print disability and aren't able to read, they could use this app and have it read back to them in a pretty easy to understand voice. So very cool, very fun to play with, and just a very good app. I don't know how many of you have ever used video modeling or ever used it to try to help teach people some complex tasks. But the idea of video modeling is essentially I make a video of doing something. I mean, it can be washing the dishes. It can be something, very complex. I think about, when I need to know how to do something at my house, before I call someone to fix it, I usually watch 2 to 3 YouTube videos and try to figure out if I can do it myself. I've taken apart most of my water softener and fixed it by watching a video of someone else doing it, pausing the video as I get to steps. That's video modeling. There's different kinds. You can make a video model of the individual doing things. You can make a video model of you doing the task so that they can watch it. But there's a lot of different apps we can use to help out with these. MeMinder, Visual Impact, iModeling, these are all very good ones. And you see they all have prices attached to them. What I'm going to show you on here is called HP Reveal. And much like CamFind, this was not made for assistive technology or video modeling. It is an augmentative reality app. It is made for advertising. It's made so I can hold my phone up with this app open to a movie poster and the movie trailer pops up. But I've used it a lot in video modeling, in job coaching, or in being a trainer when I'm not there. So let me go ahead and pop this up so that you can see how it works.
Hello, I'm Josh Anderson, Manager of Clinical Assistive Technology Services for Easterseals Crossroads. I'm using this video to demonstrate how to use the HP Reveal app in order to use it for video modeling. As you can see, by just holding it over a picture of my business card, the video I associate with it comes right up. This can easily be used for video modeling by recording a video of washing the dishes, brushing one's teeth, or really any kind of task that has many steps you need someone to follow. By simply holding their device over the picture associated with the video will pop up and walk them through the different steps. Using augmentative reality is a fun way to get folks to be able to learn some complex skills and just have someone there to help them along even when someone is not in the room. Hello.
Oop, sorry, I jumped the gun there. So with HP Reveal, with different video modeling apps, where I've used HP Reveal before, I've used it on the job. A person worked at a restaurant in the dish pit. So if you think of that giant dishwashing machine, there is a lot of steps that goes into that. I need to spray everything off. I need to load it up a certain way. I need to put it in. I need to pull this lever. I need to push this button. I need to pull them out. I need to stack them this way. Basically, they could take their device, hold it up to the dishwasher, and their job coach or their trainer or whatever essentially shows up on the screen and walks them through each step. I've used it in the home with individuals before. Think of that box of macaroni and cheese earlier. You could hold this app up to the box of macaroni and cheese and see the directions of everything. Boil water, or put water in bowl, boil water, drop macaroni into water, boil for 7.5 minutes, stirring occasionally. Strain, put back in pot, add milk and everything else, and walk them through each step, and they can hold it up and get those directions right there. It's like having a person there when they're not. So we can't be there to help individuals all the time, but occasionally they're going to need help with these steps when we're not there. And this gives us a tool to be able to do that. Let's talk about some new and exciting things. So intelligent personal assistants. I'm sure a lot of folks listening to this right now probably have one or two of these devices in their homes right now. So Amazon Echo, Google Home, the Apple HomePod, these things, these intelligent personal assistants, listen for the sound of our voice, and they can actually help us with tasks, everything from setting reminders to ordering new things to listening to music to listening to podcasts to. They can do a lot of different stuff for us. But then they also connect to a lot of different devices, doorbells, cameras, sensors, plugs, lights, everything like that. It used to be back in the day, for an individual to kind of live on their own, if they needed any kind of home monitoring. So if we think of cameras in the home, if we think of maybe alarms on the fridge, because they shouldn't be getting in there for snacks every 5 minutes. It was expensive. I mean, you had to wire the house for everything. You had to get up in the ceiling and in the walls. You had to really, it was a lot of work. You needed an electrician, a builder. You needed, pretty much the guys from This Old House in there to really put everything together. Nowadays, you don't. For a couple $100, you could have a personal assistant. You could have the Nest cams, cloud cams, all different kinds of cameras and things, where you can set these and even monitor them from afar. You can look in on folks and see kind of what they're doing. You can have the thermostat set where they're not going to set it down to 50 degrees on accident or up to 100. You can have doorbells with cameras on them, so that you can know who's at the door. So if the individual is not very mobile, or it's a lot of work to get from the bed to the door, they can see on a device who's there, who's coming in, and know if it's a caregiver or someone that they need to unlock the door for, if it's somebody that they maybe don't, maybe somebody meaning them harm or things like that. So this is a very exciting, and again, these are things that aren't necessarily made as assistive technology for individuals, but they can be used in that way. Some very important things and some takeaways. Again, this is not an all-encompassing list of things out there at all. I could talk all day about the different things that can help and different needs. But it's really finding what tools work for that individual. And the best way to do that is start with the familiar. Start with strategies or tools that they're familiar with. Find out what they're currently using. The reason I kind of stressed apps and did it a lot is, it's a little easier to demonstrate in this kind of environment. But also, a lot of us already have these things. We already have a cell phone or a smartphone. We already have maybe a tablet device. And the individual probably knows the basics of how to use it, of how to use the camera, of how to open an app, of how to do these things. So it's already in there. And then determine if what they have can work for them. So maybe a free app on there, or maybe, they have a really hard time staying on task, and maybe the timer that's built in is all they need. Or maybe the egg timer that's in the drawer is all they really need for that skill, for that bit of help. Use what you got, is really kind of the thing. But then consider maybe some new stuff. If it's not sufficient, start thinking about some new ones. Some considerations if you're selecting a device, an app, or anything. Always think about the person's abilities: physical, visual, cognitive. If they have a visual disability, make sure it's large enough for them to be able to see it, or it has that audio feedback so they can hear it. Always set reasonable expectations and what is the purpose. When people ask me about assistive technology, I always tell them, it can help overcome barriers. It can do everything like that. It really can't completely fill a giant skill gap. And really what I mean by that is, if my IQ's in the 60s, AT, assistive technology, is probably not going to help me become an astrophysicist. Can it help me pass college? Sure, it probably can. Can it help me in school? Sure. Can it help me on the job? Sure, but always with reasonable expectations. And a really easy way to keep the reasonable expectations is to set goals. Set goals as, today the goal is this, accomplish that goal, then move on to the next one. Always have those overarching ones, but break it down into small ones, and it's much easier to figure out. How receptive are they to change? A lot of folks I've worked with, especially kind of with Down syndrome, some folks are very receptive to change, and with technology, they love it, and it's fun, and it's new things to play with and stuff. Other times it's, life's going great just the way it is, at least for me, and I don't want to change anything, so I'm not going to use this. Which kind of brings us down to that personal preference part. Yeah, that's really great. I'm sure it'd probably help me. I don't like it, and I'm not going to use it. So always think about those. Prior experience with technology, that just kind of means, are they experienced with technology? Do they like using it? Are they going to want to use it? And then consider future financial and social supports. Are they going to have the help there to continue to be able to use this? Is it something where I can use video modeling to be able to help them in the future? So just some little things to consider if you're trying to figure out what might work for folks. Also, remember that loan library I talked about earlier. Borrow some things. Try some different stuff to see if it meets the needs. Borrow 2 or 3 things. See which one works best. What works best, maybe they don't like, but another one works and they like it. So, try to stick with that one. Another part of Indata is we do 4 to 5 trainings every year. We've already done most of them for the year, but we do have one more coming up. And it's on the Internet of Things and disability. So those smart personal assistants, the smart devices, there'll probably be a portion on some different apps and some different things that we talked about, but some different things that can help folks. And that's Friday, August 31st, here at Crossroads, which is at 4740 Kingsway Drive, just about at about 46th and Keystone in Indianapolis. These are free to attend. You do have to sign up for them, and you can attend in person or online. If you attend in person, you do get free lunch, and CEUs are available for those. If you go to Eastersealstech.com, look for trainings, that's where you would sign up. I don't believe the sign-up's available for this one yet, but it should be coming soon. And then we'll have our new training list coming out for next year here sometime in the near future. Also, if you go to that Eastersealstech.com, you can sign up for our mailing list so that you get email reminders for when these things are coming up. If you sign up for our mailing list, we're not going to spam you. I don't know how many they actually send out a year, but I think it's about 10. So you're not going to get something in your inbox every day bugging you about Easterseals Crossroads and assistive technology. Since we're kind of doing this recording, I really can't probably take questions right now because I won't be there when you ask them. But just remember, consider us a resource for all your AT questions. All my contact information's there. Email is the easiest to really get a hold of me. As I said earlier, myself and my team cover all 92 counties, so rarely am I in the office. I am more than I used to be, but still there's a lot of days that I don't get to see the office, so email is probably the easiest. And then also go back through if there's a certain department you want, the loan library, the AFP program, the depot. If you contact those people directly, they might be able to get your question answered a little quicker. I really appreciate the opportunity to talk to everyone today. Hopefully you all learned something new. I really hope that some of you even pulled out your devices, maybe downloaded some of those things we talked about and started playing with them. If you have questions, feel free to contact me. I'd be more than happy. I always love talking about assistive technology. If you ever do come into Crossroads here at 4740 Kingsway, we have an adaptive lab set up with a lot of the equipment. And somebody should be here that can walk you through, show you some of the different things we have. And I'd always love to do this again for you guys in the future. I do apologize about the fire alarm going off there in the middle, but that's always the fun of technology and the best laid plans, right? So again, thank you so much. My name is Josh Anderson from Easterseals Crossroads, and I really do appreciate your time. Have a great day.